Ring Out Podcast. I go by the name of Papo Jr. Appreciate you clicking on the video. The video was suggestive to you. I let your boy, man. We gonna check out 50 times WWE biggest superstars were left off WrestleMania. WrestleMania is right around the corner. Just spin the block and we there, cuz next weekend, man, 2 nights. I'll be here. Watch along for the both nights, man. Join your boy, bro. Subscribe and all that good stuff. We're gonna have some cold ones, some drinks. I got it ready right there, man. I feel like y'all don't see it, but you know, we're gonna get lit. We gonna get lit for those 2 nights. Stand and Deliver. I'll be here as well. Every Friday, I'm here. Watch along for SmackDown. Join your boy. Know that good stuff. But we're gonna check this out. 50 times WWE's biggest superstars were left off WrestleMania. This video is by Wrestling Flashback, man. Go check out. I'm subscribed. Yeah, I'm subscribed. Check out the content, all that good stuff. I'm gonna leave the link in the description. Y'all go check it out for yourself, uninterrupted and all that good stuff. I keep saying all that good stuff. Take a drink every time I say all that good stuff. Y'all be fucked up by now. Without further ado, let's fucking get it.
1, 2, is this on?
WrestleMania is the biggest show of the year, so every talent wants to have a spot on the grandest stage, but not everyone can make it on the card.
A pro would bring me. They're here. That's good, but a pro would have booked me to start with.
Whether it be through injury,
I realize, my shoulders dislocated.
family issues,
One area that I'm not going to make.
Damn, bro, this dude never got the first ever Universal Champion, and boom, next night he had to relinquish it.
Make that sacrifice to protect my family. I'll quit.
or created differences.
They booked me and Carlito for WrestleMania, and they eventually, scrapped the match.
Today we'll run down some of the most glaring omissions from WrestleMania cards over the years.
Booker, you weren't even on WrestleMania 21.
And touch on
Damn.
why certain big name wrestlers didn't appear on the show.
It was so incredibly disheartening.
Something I've tried hard to forget about, to be honest with you.
And he might miss WrestleMania 41, Sheamus. They got nothing for the dude. I saw it on Twitter. He says, I'm available because Randy Orton don't got an appointment due to the fact that Kevin Owens is not going to participate this year. He got to go get neck surgery. And Sheamus is, I'm not saying let's get Sheamus versus Randy Orton because, but Sheamus is going to miss this one.
Honestly, to me, the lowest point of my career.
Brock Lesnar was expected to work Gunther at WrestleMania 40.
And now squares up with Gunther.
We didn't get this, man. This is the match I've been
In January
wanting.
2024, Brock was alleged to be a part of Vince McMahon's lawsuit where an unnamed WWE wrestler, who was also a former UFC fighter, was said to be involved in the trafficking.
McMahon shared the explicit photos with him and informed her that he likes what he sees. After the star agreed to a new contract, McMahon told her that sex acts with her were part of the deal.
Lesnar's face-off with Gunther in the Royal Rumble match was swapped with Braun Breaker. Lesnar was then removed from all WWE creative plans. A year later, Brock was officially named in the lawsuit, which would obviously keep him out of WrestleMania 41 as well. Lesnar had previously missed WrestleMania 37, which took place during the outbreak of COVID-19. With no fans in attendance throughout this period, and Mania only being at half capacity, there was no point in paying Brock his high salary to wrestle, given the circumstances. The previous year's WrestleMania didn't have any fans whatsoever, and was taped at the WWE's Performance Center warehouse. Rey Mysterio,
That was
who didn't appear at
depressing
WrestleMania
as
37
fuck.
due to not being booked, was rumored to have missed out at WrestleMania 36 because he was in quarantine. Other notable absentees from that Mania include Jeff Hardy, Sheamus, Mickey James, The Miz, Jey Uso, Big E, and Xavier Woods, all of whom either weren't booked or had injuries. Roman Reigns backed out of the show so as to keep himself and his family safe during such difficult times.
There's one area that I'm not.
Oh,
gonna make
that's
that
understandable.
sacrifice. I will sacrifice my career.
Especially-
I'll sacrifice the performance. Hell, I'll sacrifice the audience if I have to protect my family. I'll quit. I will hang up the boots.
Activities outside of the
Especially
ring
the
also prevented
fucking
Jeff Hardy
condition
from
he was
competing and
going
on
through.
to win the Money in the Bank ladder match at WrestleMania 24. Around 2 weeks out from Mania, Jeff violated the wellness policy for a second time, meaning he was suspended and would miss the show of shows. It was a massive blow given how popular Hardy was at this point. He'd still go on to have a great year, but the suspension was a huge setback. Jeff later missed out on WrestleMania 34 through injury.
Joints and all kinds of major superplex.
Keep an eye on Jeff's right shoulder. The impact upon the crash.
Hardy was at home for Mania 37 after his father had sadly passed away days prior to the event following a lengthy illness. Jeff's brother Matt had also had his fair share of WrestleMania misses, including Manias 20, 21, and 24, the latter of which he returned from injury to cost his rival MVP the Money in the Bank match. In 2003, Creative had nothing for Jeff, meaning there was no place for him at WrestleMania 19. Speaking of weak creative, Sheamus and Daniel Bryan's planned US title clash was penciled in for WrestleMania 27, but during the day they were told their bout had been bumped to the pre-show and was now going to be a battle royal.
What? Well, hold on. It sucks that Sheamus doesn't have a fucking WrestleMania match this year. We could have done it. We could have done it with Braun Breaker versus Sheamus. Intercontinental Championship, title versus career, and have Sheamus win the IC Championship. We thought that was gonna happen last year with that triple threat. Was it last year? I believe it. Yeah, it was last. Yeah, it was last year when it was that triple threat with Drew McIntyre and Gunther. Man, we could have had that match this year. Braun Breaker versus Sheamus. And that shit would have been a banger fucking match, even though they had a clash before. But still, title versus fucking career for Sheamus. And he wins the fucking IC championship fucking finally at WrestleMania. And we don't have it. I don't fucking get it, bro. Still, we got a fucking fatal four-way.
Instead of a one-on-one.
More multi-man matches.
There by the Celtic Warrior. Now both superstars have gone over the top.
It was so
This was the
incredibly
pre-show.
disheartening.
Something I've tried hard to forget about, to be honest with you. Honestly, to me, the lowest point in my career.
These days, the pre-show is essentially a part of the WrestleMania broadcast, since fans can watch it live. But back then, pre-show matches could only be seen by purchasing the DVD a month or two later. Sheamus and Bryan had a big showcase at the Show of Shows a year later.
Yeah. Like 15 seconds that shit lasted. I remember that shit.
But Mania 27 was a low point for both men. Ric Flair was another victim of a relatively unseen WrestleMania pre-show match. In 2007, Flair had been working with Carlito, but neither wrestler made it onto WrestleMania 23. Carlito's hardly a big name and was left off more WrestleMania main cards than he was on during both his runs with the company, but he made some interesting remarks about not being figured into plans at Mania 23, so he deserves a mention here. In an interview with the Ottawa Sun, and while speaking in the third person, Carlito said Rick not being on the card was disrespectful, but it was even more disrespectful not to have Carlito on the card. He then took a shot at Melina vs Ashley and Kane vs the Great Khali being on the show but not him, before then saying maybe if he politicked and kissed ass, he might have made it on. Backstage, Carlito got heat for these comments, but later claimed they were said in character.
I was just being a heel, but people took it as like a shoot type of thing. But at that point, I already have to own it. So, all right, I guess now it's not. So what are we gonna do? And that's kind of the beginning where my heat backstage started developing from.
Flair and Carlito ended up teaming up to take on Chavo Guerrero and Gregory Helms in the Mania 23 Dark match, where Lumberjacks were also involved.
I was supposed
What
to
the
wrestle,
fuck?
Mr. Anderson at WrestleMania, right? And then that promo was so good, I guess, I can't remember. The next day, they booked me and Carlito for WrestleMania. And they eventually, scrapped the match. So
WrestleMania 21 saw Booker T absent from the main card, though he did win an Interbrand Battle Royal in the Dark match.
Booker, you weren't even on WrestleMania 21.
WrestleMania 22 had one of these as well.
Look at this.
WrestleMania 21, I would never forget this. WrestleMania 21 was the first ever pay-per-view. I purchased, but I didn't pay for it. I was a kid, man. They had those fucking previews of, the upcoming pay-per-views and shit like that. And I used to watch it when I was a kid. I was like, fuck, I want to watch WrestleMania. And then one day, I had a TV in my room. I just said, fuck it, I'm going to order it. Bang. And my parents paid for that shit, come up in the bill. And they didn't say anything. So I did it again for a few more pay-per-views. And until they caught up to like, yo, what is all these wrestling pay-per-view purchase in Spanish, they were telling me. But like, what is all this shit? Stop fucking buying pay-per-views and stuff like that. This shits are expensive. But WrestleMania 21, right here, man. Because I enjoy that fucking shit. John Cena winning the WWE Championship against JBL. The first match was Eddie Guerrero versus Rey Mysterio. everything was Hollywood and shit like that. Was it Kurt Angle versus Shawn Michaels on that WrestleMania? Let me know in the comments. I don't remember that much. Or was it 22? I think it was 21. Let me know in the comments if I'm wrong. And let me know the right WrestleMania. But at WrestleMania 21, I will never forget. That was the first pay-per-view I purchased. I said, fuck it. I was a kid. I was like, what? I don't remember. What year was WrestleMania 21? 05? No, hell no. One of those years.
Look at this! Road Warrior eliminated! With his heads up! Snitsky eliminated!
The WrestleMania 21 pre-show match was the first that didn't air on Sunday Night Heat since Heat's inception in 1998. From 99 to 03,
I remember
the Heat pre-show
Sunday
was
Night
part of the
Heat,
WrestleMania
man.
experience. It was a chance to see the stage design before the main pay-per-view as well as a few matches. So it's similar to the countdown shows that air on YouTube today. Before the days of Heat,
I've always
pre-show
looking
Mania
forward to
matches
that.
were aired as part of the free-for-all. Aside from the wrestlers who worked on the Sunday Night Heat pre-show, including those involved in the World Tag Team
Always look forward to
Championship
Sunday
match,
Night
and
Heat
John
just to
Cena,
look
who
at
got
the
promo before
stages
event.
and how it
WrestleMania
looked.
19 in Seattle had a host of absentees. Scott Steiner's push had ended after he came in working for the world title against Triple H at the previous two pay-per-views. Christian had been involved in his tag partner Chris Jericho's feud with Shawn Michaels, but wasn't figured in for Mania. Then there were numerous key names that missed out because of injuries such as Edge, Kevin Nash, Lita, Randy Orton, and Batista. Let's now take a closer look at stars who were ruled out of WrestleMania through injury. Some of these injuries may have occurred right before the big show.
Oh my
Others were long-term
God.
in nature, or worse, career-threatening. Nevertheless, no one wants to miss the showcase of the Immortals.
Hey, here we go. I told you she would do it. And Lita with a loop-ass press off the apron, and now Lita holding her knee. And whoa! That's game planning. Yeah. Triple H using. Oh, looks like Umaga. And McIntyre. It is now driven. Oh,
That shoulder, bro.
launching him with that power bomb.
I realize, my shoulders dislocated.
WrestleMania 2000 was without Stone Cold Steve Austin since the Texas Rattlesnake had undergone neck surgery 3 months prior. This injury kept him out of action for the best part of a year. The Undertaker was also on the treatment table as a result of multiple injuries. First a groin tear and later a torn pectoral muscle. The Phenom had previously been hurt for WrestleMania 10 where he was at home healing from a back injury. Mr. Perfect's back injury prevented him from wrestling at WrestleMania 8. Rey Mysterio has missed a number of WrestleManias due to injury, usually because of knee problems. This includes 4 separate Manias.
That dude
during
had
the
a lot of
2000s
knee
and 2010s.
problems,
Rey's
man.
former tag partner Batista is another who took multiple WrestleManias off due to injury, most notably when Dave had to relinquish.
We got Kevin Owens missing WrestleMania due to injury. Fucking A, bro. Fuck, man. I was really looking forward to that match with Randy Orton and fucking Kevin Owens, man.
The world title in the lead up to WrestleMania 22 upon suffering a torn tricep. The Animal then sat out WrestleMania 25 after undergoing hamstring surgery. WrestleMania 32 was without Seth Rollins, who tore his ACL the previous November whilst WWE champion.
Oh,
John Cena
shit.
performed the run-in on the show, but couldn't wrestle since he'd recently had shoulder surgery. Randy Orton also had shoulder problems at the time and was absent from the event. Shawn Michaels was present at WrestleMania 13, but a smile-losing knee injury meant he wasn't booked in a match.
Not long after that, I tweaked my knee.
Goes up, out, and down.
I cried when the doctor in New York told me you'd never wrestle again. I was devastated, told my parents, cried.
I've lost a lot of things, and one of them has been my smile.
Before the injury, the Heartbreak Kid was expected to drop the WWF title at the event to Bret Hart in a return match from Mania 12.
You phony little faker, why don't you take your little pussyfoot injury? No. I'm not going anywhere. Go back and find your smile.
I remember I didn't buy any of it. I thought this is the biggest bunch of bullshit ever. So it's just his way of not dropping the belt to me, which just to me reeked of unprofessional.
This is the Bret Hart I like. When he was the baby face, best wrestler and all that. You sounded like you putting me to sleep. But Bret Hart, when he's fucking real and he's he don't give a fuck. He will tell it like it is, bro. He'll let you know how he really fucking feels. That's the Bret Hart I like on the mic. Seriously.
Shawn's best friend Triple H tore his quad for the second time in his career.
Because I'm watching the Monday Night Wars. I can't wait when he turns heel, bro.
during a match where he teamed with Michaels 3 months prior to WrestleMania 23. This meant that HBK took the game's place in the show's main event versus John Cena. Charlotte Flair missed WrestleMania 37 due to contracting the virus amidst the 2020 and 2021 outbreak. AJ Styles got hurt 3 months out from WrestleMania 39 where he broke his ankle at a house show. And lastly, Kevin Owens had to back out of Mania 41 with a neck issue after already being confirmed to face Randy Orton.
I want to say thank you, and I'm sorry, guys. Thank you.
It's not just wrestlers that miss out on the big time. Sometimes there's no room for certain title defenses at the granddaddy of them all. As of 2024, the coveted Intercontinental Championship hasn't been defended at 13 WrestleManias in total, not counting pre-shows. This includes 2 separate stretches from WrestleMania 19 to 24 and 26 to 30. The tag team titles haven't been featured on 10 WrestleMania main cards. Since its return in 1998, the Women's Championship, or Divas title as it was later known, was left off 8 WrestleManias, including no defenses from Mania 24 to 29. The United States Championship might have the worst showing of any title at WrestleMania. After being revived in 2003 and later appearing at Mania 20, the US title wasn't defended at 11 out of a possible 19 WrestleManias, with a barren spell taking place from WrestleManias 24 to 30. There's been a few instances over the years where
That is a sin. Every championship should be fucking defended on WrestleMania. That is the grandest stage of them all. But all depends on the booking. Because as you can see, you see the Women's IC Championship. The booking has not been great. There was no program that led to have a match for WrestleMania for that championship. Not even a tournament. The Women's US Championship, same thing. No program, no feud that could bleed into WrestleMania. Nothing. Like, there's times I forget that the U.S. Women's Championship even exists. Just like, why do we have these titles then? For what? One of the tag team championships may not be on WrestleMania. I'm not hearing anything about the WWE Tag Team Champions being defended at WrestleMania. I feel like they will. They're just gonna add it at last minute. Same thing with the World Tag Team Champions that the War Raiders have. Maybe it's going to be War Raiders versus the New Day at WrestleMania. They haven't been added yet, but I feel like they will. But all titles should be fucking defended. The U.S. title is going to be defended. LA Knight versus Jacob Fatu. Intercontinental Champion is going to be in a fatal 4-way. You know? Both women... Hold on. Yeah, both women's championship, they're going to be defended. And both, men's championship, singles, But all titles should be defended. But there has to be a fucking build-up to it. Look at the Women's World Tag Team Champions. It looks like that's going to be defended. For some reason, they have a tag team gauntlet happening. And it looks like, to me, it's going to be fucking Lyra and Bayley versus the tag. What are we doing, bro? This is why a lot of people feel like this WrestleMania on paper is not good enough. But we'll wait and see when the show starts. But on paper, it's just too many multi-man matches, man. It's just like, bro, what are we doing, bro? You can't blame the people that feel like this WrestleMania doesn't feel like WrestleMania. It feels like the Fatal 4-Way pay-per-view.
Big WrestleMania matches got cancelled, thus leading to wrestlers not making it onto the main card despite still being with the company. The Big Show vs Shaquille O'Neal would have been a marquee match for Mania 33, where it was supposed to go down.
Boom shakalaka!
Before he retires, it'll just be me against him. So, if you're listening, I'm ready to take on
And
Big Show.
we never got it.
Shaq's the one that needs to show up and get it done, not me. I work there. He's got to come to me. I don't need to go to him.
Let's do it.
Fuck you laughing at?
Let's do it. I'm in. Vince McMahon, Shane McMahon, I'm in.
I'm in too, hey.
Next time when I fight Big Show and body slam him over a table, that's going down next year in Orlando.
That's a big man.
Various reasons were rumored
Never
for the
happened.
cancellation, but Big Show puts it down to scheduling conflicts and bad communication.
This is
on
a Royal
WWE's
Rumble.
part.
People way above my pay
Battle
grade.
Royal, hold on.
Scheduling conflicts and bad communication on WWE.
Andre the Giant battle. Get the fuck out of here. I
People
remember
way
that.
above my pay grade couldn't put that deal together.
I think the biggest thing was aligning WWE and Shaq for
what WWE's vision was of the match that they wanted us to have.
Show ended up working on the pre-show instead.
And there he goes! Big Show eliminated by Strowman!
Bobby Lashley was all set to work Bray Wyatt at WrestleMania 39, but sadly health issues kept Bray out of action. Wyatt would later tragically pass away.
Oh man, RIP,
Lashley
man.
appeared on the show showing off the Andre the Giant trophy he'd won in the Battle Royal on SmackDown 2 nights before, and will also include Razor Ramon, who refused to wrestle a planned match with Goldust at WrestleMania 12. Goldust ended up working against Roddy Piper at the event instead. Razor was suspended for the show after failing a test. However, Ramon believes the suspension had more to do with the fact he'd made it known that he was off to WCW once his contract expired a few months later. Not being part of creative plans is the main reason wrestlers might not appear on the grandest stage. Lower level talent are used to this, but for the bigger names, being left off stings that bit more. Even with the show being 2 nights now, every year a popular star is still likely to miss out because they're not in any storylines. WrestleMania 39 in LA had no space for LA Knight, who fans were clamoring to see pushed at the time.
I came here to be recognized as the best, and how do I do that? By going to WrestleMania.
And he'd even get a match.
Talent such as LA Knight, you've got to capitalize. Look at this now. Woods with the backwoods and the win.
Kevin Owens' spot versus Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania 35 was taken by Kofi Kingston.
I love that
Kofi
belt.
got so
The
old in
hemp
audience
WWE
in the build-up, the company
Championship
had no
belt.
choice but to go with him instead of Owens. This meant KO sat out Mania that year, the only time he would do so whilst wrestling for WWE. Samoa Joe debuted on the main roster in 2017, 2 months before WrestleMania 33, but the Samoan submission machine wasn't able to find a way onto the show of shows. Also, spare a thought for William Regal, who never wrestled on a full Mania card after his appearance at WrestleMania 18. That's despite him working on the active roster until 2013. After a string of disappointing WrestleMania matches, The Undertaker didn't feature at Mania 35. The Phenom still attended the show though, and many believed he'd make an appearance of some sort. However, Taker didn't bring his gear, so then when he was asked to show up on Raw the next night, he had to go back home to Texas, get his stuff, and then return to New York.
You have to make a trip home? Yeah. Gosh. A pro would bring me. You're here. That's good, but a pro would have booked me to start with.
Nah, McMahon is right about that. Like, yo, you never know. Bring your gear, because you never know. But how the fuck you don't book Taker at WrestleMania? Book him, bro. That's Taker.
Undertaker watched that.
Let me hear that again.
Bring me. You're here. That's good, but a pro would have booked me to start with.
Bring your gear, you never know. But you should have booked them. You should have booked them.
Undertaker watched that year's WrestleMania.
You should have booked them. That's Undertaker.
Should be out there.
And it wasn't long after until he was back in the ring once again. Now, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to check out.
I enjoyed the video, man. This shit was a great video, man. Check out his content, man. Keep forgetting y'all niggas. Wrestling Flashback, man. That ass. He should have been booked. That's the Undertaker. So what if the streak is over? That is the Undertaker. If he wants to go, like, come on. But yeah. WrestleMania, man, right around the corner. All we gotta do is spin the block, and we almost there, bro. We almost there. Can't wait. On paper, it don't feel, but still, it's WrestleMania, and I can't wait. It's in the air. Biggest party of the fucking year. I can't wait. It's gonna be fun. Join your boy. I'll be here. Watch along 2 nights. Stand and Deliver NXT. I'll be here. WrestleMania. I was gonna say WrestleMania SmackDown. SmackDown before WrestleMania. I'm here every Friday. SmackDown. I'm here every fucking Friday. SmackDown. Watch along. Join your boy, bro. That good stuff. It sucks that we didn't get certain matches. Certain superstars. That it could have been great. Could have been fucking great, bro. Was it Shawn Michaels and Kurt Angle at WrestleMania 20? I think it was, man. I think it was, man. Let me know in the comments. And comment down below anything else that oh my God. Wrestling Flashback. Yeah, I was going to say Wrestlemania. Shout out to him too. Comment down below anything else that Wrestling Flashback had missed that didn't put in the video. I would like to know as well, man. Till next time.
Goodbye. Mwah, and good night, bang.
Peace.